502. What's going down? This is your boy Raashaan Myers. Wake up 502, 96.1 FM, 1450 AM, Big X Sports Radio, joining you live from the palatial studios of WXVW. Joined in studio. I don't know what happened, people, with the intro. The intro was shot off early this morning. I don't know why. I was still in the middle of getting everything together. We got intern James in the building. We got intern Dre in the building. All the fellas are here with me. Haven Harrington is out. I don't know if he's going to be able to call in today. We may hear from Roman Kelly as well. Romy Bean has been running around. Louisville Kings made their debut last night, taking on the Birmingham Stallions. So Romy Bean, of course, is the PA announcer for the Kings. So I definitely want to talk about that. Intern Dre was in the building last night, so I definitely want to hear from him about that. Hear his thoughts on that, and then of course we just have a bunch of things to get into today. We have Louisville basketball, their season coming to an end. We have, what happened in the craziness in the aftermath of the round of 32, and we had the Sweet 16 last night as well as Thursday evening. We're going to talk about that. Louisville basketball making some moves. Louisville football is in spring, has started the spring camp, and that's up and rolling. So we have a ton to get into this morning. I have a ton of thoughts. But first of all, let me say what's up to the fellas. Intern James, how are you doing this morning, brother? You doing all right in there?
Blessed and highly favored. How are you?
I'm doing well, man. Glad to hear from you. Glad to see you. It's been I've been going through it the last it seemed like the last month, however, it's been a minute since we've been in here together, brother.
Yes, sir. I'm glad to be back.
Absolutely. Good. Glad to see you. And of course, when we get in here, everything's going all crazy and haywire. I don't know why everything was happening this morning, but hey, we got the ship up and running, so I will take that. Dre, how are you doing this morning? Pretty good. Oh, hold on. Let's try that other mic. Can you pod that up? Let's try that other mic. See if that one's working. Try that one, Dre.
Pretty good.
Hey, there he goes. Okay, good to see you this morning, Dre. As I talked about, you ain't been in here in a minute. You've been out running around, living the lavish life. I want to know, first of all, how was the game last night? How was give me the thoughts on just the everything around the game, not the actual game, but just going in there. How did they do with the promotion? How did they do with having the football game at the soccer stadium? Just kind of give me your thoughts on how everything went.
It was actually really fun. The atmosphere was good. The crowd was making a lot of noise. It was very enthusiastic. Even though the Kings did lose that game, I think everyone was very happy about how it was running. So
yeah. Good. Yeah, and they were taking on a team in the Birmingham Stallions that is supposedly one of the best teams in the UFL. So big game, Fox Sports. Not Fox Sports, but Fox Network. So it was on Fox 41 for everybody here locally. So it was national televised game. Was everybody? I know it was cold last night, but were the people into it? Like, was it still a lot of energy?
Yeah, it was a lot of energy, even though it was cold. I left kind of early in the fourth quarter, but when I left, there was still a lot of people there, so
yeah,
I think it's still going on.
Yeah, it was rough. I mean, that's the only thing. And shout out to TJ Walker of KRC Kentucky Sports here. He was Kentucky Roll Call, by the way, if you don't know what KRC is. TJ Walker is the host of Kentucky Roll Call, and we have. Of course, Roman Kelly, who is doing the PA stuff. How did Roman do, by the way?
It was actually really good, It was actually really good.
Really?
Showing off some new chants, and it was pretty fun.
Really? Okay, nice. Well, I know that I had been listening to him, and he had been nervous about it. And, listening to intern Matt, who does the producing for KRC, he's one of the people that's part of the what they call the three-man front, which is the Louisville King-based radio show that they do once a week on Thursdays here on the Big X. So, intern Matt was in the studio yesterday on Kentucky Roll Call, and he was trying to hype up everybody for the game, talking about, there's people coming in from out of town, and everybody's excited, and it's a sellout. And then here comes TJ Walker, of course, because he's a BBN. He's big, So, and being a UK fan, of course, he can't let anybody be happy. So here comes Walker coming to the building while intern Matt is trying to hype everybody up for the Louisville Kings debut, and just throws cold water on everything. He's like, well, first of all, it's going to be cold outside, so people are going to be miserable. He's like, it's not good. He said, yes, it's listed as a sellout, but I'm sure it's not going to be too crazy because, it's going to be too cold outside. People don't want to, they're going to be on the fence. So TJ Walker is coming in, just throwing cold water on everything, which made Matt annoyed because he's trying to get people excited.
Well, even though it was cold outside, a lot of people actually like jumping around. And,
really?
Yeah, it's actually really good.
See, exactly. So there you go, TJ Walker. I know you're out there listening to Wake Up 502 this morning. Intern Dre said that everybody had energy. They were up. They were excited. It looked great on TV.
It did look great.
It looked very good. Like the Fox broadcast, I mean, it was a legit, like football broadcast. I mean, I don't know. I don't want to say necessarily NFL, but it looked like a very professional situation. And, this Louisville has had a lot of, professional semi-pro football over the years with the arena teams that they've had, Louisville Fire, Louisville Extreme, that they've had a few different variations of football in the city. And this was by far the highest quality non-U of L based football product that we've ever had in the city. And it looked great. Lynn Family Stadium looked great. What was were the sight lines like sitting in the seats? Was everything look good as far as that?
Yeah, it was actually really good, really. I think Oldham County marching band was there.
Okay.
They were making a lot of noise. Actually, it was really fun. They had some games going on. They had T-shirts. It was pretty good.
Yeah, for sure. No, it I think this product has an opportunity to be great. Now, the only thing that would have made it better, unfortunately, I thought the Kings were going to get it done. They had their shots, Dre.
They did.
They had their shots. They were up a point in the fourth quarter. They were driving with the football, had an opportunity to put, a touchdown on the board and maybe, put it out to an 8-point lead. Unfortunately, they got down there. I think on 1st and goal, they had an opportunity to throw a touchdown and just miscommunicated or, bad pass.
And then he fumbled on the 1-yard line.
Yeah. Just like they had so many opportunities, which would have been awesome to get the win for the fans. But they played really well. And,
play really well.
From what I understand, Birmingham is one of the best funded teams in the league, which is that they have a lot of talent, which, with Louisville being able to come out their first game, you could see there was some first game jitters and some things that they still need to work out. But the team looked good. For the most part, made some big plays. I thought the product was high quality. I think that the Louisville Kings can be a good team in the UFL this year. So that's awesome because Louisville is a city that if there's a good product out there and you're coming out there and you're winning games, people are going to show up,
Definitely.
And I think that that's going to be probably the biggest game. Now, intern Jay, James, did you go out there or did you get to see any of the game last night?
I didn't get to see a game. I saw people post about it online, but
okay.
I didn't watch anything.
Yeah. It was I was not there either. I got to just kind of pull in and watch a little bit of it, but maybe we're gonna have to get James out there. James, you think you could? I know that you're an old veteran out there now that you're done with your high school career, right? So maybe we're gonna have to get you out there for a Louisville Kings tryout.
It looked like a nice vibe.
Yeah, I'm telling you, the uniforms look good.
They did.
That green and black was hitting, a little bit. I actually like the Louisville Kings uniforms better than the Stallions. So I don't know. James might look good in that green and black. We might have to see if we can make that. I'm like, who this man is? You know what I'm saying? He was a maniac on the field for Manual. I'm just saying, we might have to do that. We're going to see. But I just want to say congratulations to Roman on, PA announcing. It sounds like it was a great event. I do hate that Louisville came up short, but everybody seemed to have a good day. All the great folks from Lynn Family Stadium that helped put on the event, first class just an awesome situation for everybody. And now the city of Louisville has a new, so something new to follow. I mean, it was crazy because it was actually not only the opening night for the Louisville Kings last night, it was Louisville Bats that had a home game opening last night as well. So, like, there was a lot going on in the city. Of course, we have Lou City and Racing Louisville, the men's and women's soccer teams here, and everything that they're doing. So, Louisville has a lot of sports interest going on right now, even though University of Louisville men's basketball has now gone by the wayside, sadly, and we're going to get into that and talk about that. But I definitely did want to give the Louisville Kings their flowers and just say, welcome to the city, congratulations, and it looked good. It looked good. So hopefully they earned some fans last night. But fellas, let's get into it. Let's talk about it. Let's chop it up. I got to get into it. University of Louisville, of course, y'all know last Saturday we came on the show. We were previewing the Louisville showdown with Michigan State. Tom Izzo trying to see if the fellas were going to be able to get it done, get to a Sweet 16. And pretty much everything went down, honestly, about the way that I thought it was going to be. I knew that Louisville would have a shot. If Michael Brown Jr. was not going to play, even with Michael not playing, I thought Louisville was going to have a chance. Louisville had been playing better. Seeing what I saw those guys do the last couple of weeks of the regular season, going down there, winning at Miami, playing Miami very well in the ACC tournament, I felt that it was going to be a very similar matchup to Miami when they played Michigan State. Yeah. And it pretty much went exactly how I thought it would go. I thought Louisville was going to have to be very tough. They were going to have to play in the middle. Michigan State, very, very physical, rebounding team. Normally, they're not a great three-point shooting team. So, of course, Michigan State comes out and just shot the cover off the ball to start. They had, like multiple guys hit 3 or 4 threes. It was just ridiculous. Like they just had one of those games, It's just one of those things where, Tom Izzo had them ready to play. Too bad that wasn't the case last night against UConn, Michigan State. If they were going to come out there and, play like that, I would have liked to see them at least upset the Huskies for me because I cannot stand Danny Hurley or anything going on with the UConn Husky program. I hate Connecticut. I hate UConn.
Connecticut?
I've always hated UConn. I've hated them for as long as I can remember. That program, they used to be rivals of Louisville's in the Big East. I didn't like them then. So I cannot stand the UConn Huskies. So that they, of course, did get the win last night. But I thought that Louisville acquitted themselves well. I thought that, until I think Ali Khalifa hit a three-pointer at, I think it was around 5 minutes and 30 seconds left in the game, which cut the game to a 3-point lead. So, you're within one possession with 5 minutes to play. To me, especially with all the shortcomings that Louisville had this year, that's pretty good. It's a good team. They're in the game into the second half. It's not like they went out there and got blown out like some people did. University of Kentucky, shout out to you for getting busted by Iowa State last week. So, unlike Kentucky, who was never in the game in the second half, Louisville came out there, showed up, and did the best that they could. And I know that a lot of Louisville fans, don't know if you fellas have been here. I do want to ask, like, after Louisville loses last week, like, of the people that you all know, James, let me ask you, like, what was the mood of the people after Louisville lost? Were they fussing and complaining and upset, or were they kind of like, okay, Louisville did okay, I'm good with it?
So I'm not gonna lie, I really didn't hear much about it after the loss.
Okay,
but going into it, everybody was like, "Oh, we're gonna lose." Nobody
very negative.
Like, I'm sorry.
They were very negative.
Yeah, they were just down going into it. Nobody, I don't know, they didn't have no confidence.
Yeah.
So I guess nobody's really shocked, at least around in my circle.
Okay. Dre, what about you? What's been like? Have you heard anybody fussing about it? What did they feel going into the game? Or the people around you?
Well, some will kind of like, okay, at least he beat a game or got past the 64, and lost in round of 32. But some people I thought we could make it at least to the Sweet 16 or the Elite 8 at least.
Yeah.
But for me, I think we did pretty good on most parts. Even without Michael Brown, you still kind of made it into the tournament.
Right.
We beat some good teams and we lost to some good teams as well. So
yeah. Well, and that was my whole thing, right? Is that for me, I don't want to say I'm never overly negative just because I pride myself on keeping things in perspective. And I don't allow, because everybody coming into the year with the hype around Michael Brown and the hype around, Louisville having one of the better transfer portal classes in the country, everybody had Louisville as this Final Four possible team. This team, they could go to a Final Four, they can make a deep run in March, blah, 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 blah. But all that stuff is preseason. Even if people expect for certain things to happen before the year, as a team plays throughout the season and things happen, you should allow what you see to dictate your expectation. And a lot of people, because Louisville was expected in the preseason to be this great team, were like, okay, well, that was the preseason expectation, so I don't care what I see on the field or on the court. I just expect that they're going to make it to what everybody thought they were going to be before the year, which I think is silly because it's like everybody's just guessing before the year. You have no idea what a team is going to look like, especially in today's day and age. Does that make sense? With the transfer portal and guys moving around, you just never know.
Take Indiana.
Yeah, exactly.
Indiana.
Indiana was a team that people thought were going to be great. Indiana didn't make the tournament. The last 2 years, people thought Indiana was going to be great, and they didn't make the NCAA tournament. Yeah. So, for me, I don't put a lot of stock in preseason, expectation, because especially in today's day and age with so much turnover and the fact that that teams do pretty much have to, start over with a new roster every year, I just don't know how you would be able to go out there and give any sort of have any idea. Everybody's just guessing. It's yeah, Michael Brown's a good player. Yeah, we think that, Isaac McNeely and Ryan Conwell and Adrian Woolley are going to be really good players. But honestly, really, nobody knows what those guys are going to look like until the year gets going. So for me, I've always tried to do a good job of just kind of staying in the moment. And I just want to see what the team looks like. I want to see how the guys get out there and look together. I know we have a really good freshman in Michael, and I think that he's a guy who could help us be really good. But we got to see how all this stuff works because I don't know how they're all going to fit together. So, for me, it was a fun season for me. I enjoyed watching this team play. It sucks that Michael got hurt. He missed, I think, 14 games, either 12 or 14 games this year.
14.
Yeah, he missed a ton of games this year. It's unfortunate, with the back injury, him going out there, missing so much time. But to me, Louisville was a team that pretty much was only getting the kind of dark horse Final Four, top 10 rankings based around the fact that Michael Brown Jr. was going to be part of the team.
Yeah.
And it's this team had a lot of preseason hype, but everybody thought that this superstar freshman, one of the best freshmen in the country, a guy who some people thought was going to be a top 5 pick in the draft this year, that he was going to be a part of that. So the fact that Louisville didn't have him for most of the second half of the season, I'm happy that they come out, they get a decent seed in the NCAA tournament, they get the 6th seed. Everybody was afraid that South Florida was going to beat Louisville. I heard so many people worried about, Louisville's going to lose. We're going to get screwed. They can't beat South Florida. South Florida's got the best team, in the world, and they just run up and down, and they're too physical, and Louisville just can't win, and Pat Kelsey can't win tournament games. I heard all of the baloney.
And the players talking about, we should be ranked higher than Louisville.
Yes, we're better. I don't consider it an upset. They were talking smack, and all I said was this, look. Louisville used to be in the same conference with South Florida. They were in the conference together in the Big East, as well as the here you go, get you together. They were in the same conference in the Big East as well as in the American. And the thing I said was this: look, I've seen this South Florida program for a long time, and the one thing that I know, Dre and James, is that I ain't gonna never, as a Louisville fan, be worried about South Florida Bulls in basketball. That may be disrespectful to South Florida, but Louisville don't never lose to South Florida. I think the coming into that game, Louisville's record against South Florida in their history is like 29-4. So Louisville only lost to South Florida as a program 4 times ever in history. So forgive me, and that was what my thing was like. I'm never going to be worried about South Florida, bro. Like,
Yeah.
it's South Florida, and this is Louisville basketball. And that may be disrespectful to the South Florida people, but Louisville basically went out there and did exactly what I said. They went out there and controlled the game. They were up, I think, 24 points in the game. They did allow South Florida to get back into it because dribbling was apparently optional for Louisville basketball this year.
And the full court press.
That full court press, they just turned the ball over and over again. Of course, once again, they didn't have Michael, which hurt a lot of that. But for the most part, Louisville took care of it. So Pat Kelsey gets the monkey off his back. He won a game. He finally won the NCAA tournament game, so nobody can say he can't win in March anymore. He got the win. Louisville basketball, it was their first win in the NCAA tournament since 2017, since Donovan Mitchell was in school, which is crazy that it's taken that long. But they got the win. So, yeah, the program got a win. Pat Kelsey got a win. Louisville made it to the second game, without Michael Brown. To me, I'm okay with that year. Okay, I'm not going to necessarily say that it was a great season, but I think it's pretty good. It's solid. You were one of the 32 best teams in the sport this year, with a ton of issues and a ton of problems. And that's the way that I want to wrap this whole discussion today. And, of course, 502-414-1450, that is the Game Day Men's Health text line. I want to hear from you. 384-1450, of course, is the Call Your Law Office hotline if you want to give a call as well. But the thing that I look at this year is, how do you define and how do you look at what Louisville basketball was this year? I've heard some people say that it was a disappointment because of the preseason expectations. I've heard some people say, it was solid because Louisville made the second round, and they gave Michigan State a heck of a game. Michigan State did win the game, but they were in there punching. But it has been a bit negative, just thinking about the way the Louisville fans have looked at it. And I want to know what Wake Up 502 Nation thinks about that. I want to know how you measure the success of Louisville basketball this year. And to me, if I was to give Louisville basketball a grade this year, I would give them a B. I'm not going to give them a B plus. I'm not going to give them a B minus. I'm going to give them a solid B based on what happened. And the biggest thing I look at, and you guys, you all know the squad. You know who was out there playing. From Michael Brown when he was playing Adrian Woolley. Coming in, Adrian Woolley played really good down the stretch. I like what I saw from him. Ryan Conwell was an all ACC player, made second team all ACC. Isaac McNeely was kind of up and down. And my thing is this. People want to know, is Pat Kelsey the guy? I'll say this, and then we can kind of break it down when we go to break. I think Pat Kelsey is the man for the job. Like, from what you guys have seen with Louisville basketball, let me ask you two, what would you give your grade for the season as far as what Louisville did this year? And B, do you think Pat Kelsey is doing a good enough job to be the Louisville coach? James, I want to know your opinion first. Just what grade would you give Louisville this year after everything that you saw this year for Louisville basketball? And how comfortable are you with Pat Kelsey's coach?
So I'm gonna go around your answer. I'm gonna give him a B plus.
Okay.
Because I feel like you can't really. I feel like preseason expectations. People talking in the preseason. You can't really exactly say how a season's gonna go. You can't account for what's gonna happen during the season. Team chemistry could be off. There's just a lot of things that can happen last minute, or just in general. So I feel like with all of that, with the expectations they had. I feel like it was a solid season. I do. We had a lot of good games. Some games we should have won that we didn't. Some games we maybe shouldn't have. But we got there. I feel like a lot of players had a lot of progress. They got better this year. And yeah, Pat Kelsey.
Do you think he's the guy? Who is he? Is James confident that Pat Kelsey is the man for Louisville basketball moving forward from what you've seen so far?
What year is he again? What year?
It's only his second season.
Right?
Yeah, this is only his second season. Of course, coming off Kenny Payne, nobody expected Louisville to make the NCAA tournament in year one because Kenny Payne didn't get close to sniffing the tournament. Yeah. He gets Louisville to the tournament year one with Chucky Hepburn and the fellas, and he comes back this year. Now Louisville's got their first win in the NCAA tournament after not winning a game last year, right. And has a strong second year, or second game as well. He almost beat Michigan State. So has he shown you enough, or do you still need to see more?
It definitely looks like Louisville's on up. So I'm gonna say Pat Kelsey's the guy for the job.
Okay. Jay, now, Dre, what about you? Give me a grade for the season, and how comfortable are you with Pat Kelsey and the job he's doing?
So, with the team grade, I'm gonna do like with players. So with Michael Brown, I'm gonna give him a good B-.
Okay.
Because because they always knew that Michael Brown's always gonna get the ball big up the court.
Yeah.
And he's not gonna come off the court. And he's gonna come right back in. He's always gonna do something wrong.
Michael was the focus. He was supposed to be the center of the team. Like
Chucky Hepburn.
Everything, yeah. See, everything was built around him.
Yeah, and then without Michael Brown, I think I'm gonna give him a good A-.
Okay.
Because everyone had to change their role. Yeah, the role.
Yeah,
definitely. Like Adrian Woolley's not really a bring down the court.
Yeah,
set up. Right, especially at Ryan Conwell, because we saw him do that. He was all tired and all kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And they had to move different spots. He had to shoot threes more. He had to be in the post a little more. Fu had to set screens a little more. He didn't have to be in the paint just waiting for the ball.
Yeah.
So I think I'll give him a good A-.
Okay. A- without Michael. I mean, hey, and I can't disagree with that. Like I agree with you. Like the fact that Louisville was able, when you have a whole team that was built around what Michael was supposed to be, and now you lose him, I can't argue with that. The fact that Louisville was able to get it together, people talked about Pat Kelsey's record of in what they call quad 1A games against the best teams. They had never gotten a quad. They had only had one quad A win in Pat Kelsey's 2 years. Louisville was able to go down there to Miami and get that road win against Miami in the last week of the regular season. Like that was a huge win for the Cardinals. And so, I mean, I can't disagree with that. I mean, the fact that they were able to circle the wagons without Michael Brown, I can see where you're going with that. I'm okay with that. I tell you what, I'm going to give my thoughts on the other side. I know we're up against it a little late for the first break of the day, but I have thoughts on that. I have thoughts on what I think of this year, what I think of Pat Kelsey, and then B, how I think people need to consider Louisville's season and where we need to go from here. Have a lot more to come. This is Wake Up 502. Raashaan Myers, intern Dre, intern James in the building. This is Big X Sports Radio, WVXBW, and we'll be back on the Big X. Radio. Raashaan Myers here. Intern Dre, intern James in the building, taking care of you on this cold Saturday. Man, I can't. This weather keeps going up and down. This is why I done had pneumonia, y'all. I've been sick like 2 or 3 times this year already. It gets warm one day, cold the next day, wearing shorts, on Tuesday, and then wearing, sweats and a coat on Friday. Like I'm so tired of this weather. I hope y'all are staying healthy out there. Make sure you keep shorts and winter boots in the car at all times, because depending on the day, everybody I know has been sick, has had some sort of issue. So shout out to everybody. Make sure y'all got plenty of tissues, and we're gonna get through this thing together. But before we went to break, I was asking the fellas what their thoughts were on the season, what they, give me a grade, give me their thoughts on Pat Kelsey, because that's kind of been the conversation over the last several days. It's just kind of taking stock of the Louisville season and comfort level with Pat Kelsey. And I know you guys are continuing to send your thoughts in. 502-414-1450. I want you to continue to send those in to the Game Day Men's Health text line. I want to hear from you. I want to hear your thoughts on there. And I'm going to give my thoughts. I kind of teased it before the break. And I'm gonna say this about, what I think of Louisville basketball at this point, and what I think of, where we are overall. So for me, the way I look at this is very similar to kind of what, so some of what Dre said. Just in fact, just the fact that Louisville only had these preseason expectations because of Michael. If Michael had never been on the team this year, it feels like people's expectations for the team would have been, okay, Louisville put together a solid roster. We need them to make the NCAA tournament, and we need Pat Kelsey to win a game. And I feel like that would have been the expectation. Okay, so from that, considering that Michael, yes, did we have some great moments? Yes, Michael showed how great of a player he was. He comes in, he scores 45 points in the game. He gave us some great moments, but at the end of the day, he really wasn't there the second half of the year. No fault of his own. And, I know some of his people, and I've tried to make my stances clear on social media that I don't blame Michael for what happened. I don't blame his family for protecting his, his pro stock and draft potential, or the fact that the young man had that back injury. That's something that you don't necessarily want to play with. You don't want him to be out there and he's not healthy. So I don't put any of this on him. It's just an unfortunate situation that Michael was not healthy enough to get out there and go. But I understand it. I get it. If it's my son and, he's being, predicted as a high draft pick, I'm going to make sure that he's healthy enough to get out there. I'm going to protect him as well as his future at all costs. So I get it. I understand it. So I don't have a big issue with Michael. And what happened this year, it's unfortunate. I know a lot of people are like, he's out there. That's the one thing that I would say that I wouldn't have done, and where I think that most people had issue, was the fact that he's saying he can't play, but then you're at shoot around, you see him shooting shots before the games, you see him on the sidelines jumping up and down with the team, and doing all kind of poses and doing. I understand why fans would be annoyed, because they're like, this dude is out here doing jumping jacks on the sidelines, but they say his back isn't good enough for him to play. So I get it. I get why the fans would be annoyed with that. But, there's a lot of difference between going out there and playing Division I high-level basketball and cheering for your teammates on the sidelines.
Yeah.
Is it the best look in the world? No. But, it is what it is. Like, I feel that Michael's a big enough of a competitor that if he could have been out there, I feel like he would have been out there. But they wanted to make sure that he was 100% healthy. So I get it. I understand it. I don't necessarily like it, just because, heck, I saw Jordan Pope, the guard for Texas, a couple nights ago. He went out there and on basically 1 foot gave Purdue everything he wanted. The young man was playing on a foot that he broke last weekend. Literally broke his foot against Gonzaga in a win when Texas upset Gonzaga. Broke his foot and came out there 4 days later and played in a Sweet 16 game. Like, so when you see stories like that and you see people going out there and just giving it their all, like, that's where it's like, yeah, I think that I understand protecting your draft stock and then protecting your future, but there's a lot of people that were sacrificing a lot to be out there. And you would have hoped that Michael could, maybe do some of that, but I understand why he didn't. Like, I understand both sides of the argument.
Yeah.
To me, I feel like he could have been out there and been 80%, and I feel like 80 or 85% of Michael Brown Jr. is better than 100% of most everybody else.
Yeah.
So I get it, but I understand not playing. So it was a tough situation for everybody, and I know that some people are going to have a bad taste in their mouth left over that, but, it is what it is. I look at this Louisville season as solid. Okay, I won't say it was great. If I was to give it a grade, I'd say, like I said, about a B. I feel like Pat Kelsey getting this team without Michael Brown Jr. to the NCAA tournament and getting a win, as well as showing up and showing well in the second game, I feel like that's a solid season. But this is my thing. People want to know, and this has been the talking point of the last week. How do you feel about Pat Kelsey, and how do you feel about the job that he's doing? And I'm just going to tell y'all this. I feel like we got our coach, y'all. Like, I feel like Pat Kelsey is the answer for Louisville basketball. And I'm going to tell you why. And you all can give me your thoughts on this on 502-414-1450, the Game Day Men's Health text line. When you think about this Louisville roster, okay, when you talk about all the guys on the team, okay, you talk about your starting five: Michael, Ryan Conwell, Isaac McNeely, Javon Hadley, Sananda Frew when he was starting. You talk about your bench guys: Kenai Roos, Kason Pryor, Adrian Woolley, Kobe Rogers, Ali Khalifa, and Zugris, okay, who came on at the end of the year, and Big Zoo played really well. You look at those 11 guys. All 11 of those guys were expected to be contributors, part of a rotation where Louisville played a deep roster, a lot of guys running in and out. When you guys think about this team, how many of those players do you feel met or exceeded their preseason expectations?
All of them.
I would argue, of those 11, in my personal opinion, from what everybody either had expectations of them coming out of the transfer portal or expectations of them coming back for their second year at Louisville, or guys coming over from Europe, and Michael as the only freshman, I would argue that of all the players on that Louisville team, of those 11 players, I'm going to say 4 were at least as good or better than what people expected them to be.
Who are those 4?
Those 4, in my personal opinion, Michael Brown Jr. was as good as advertised. When the kid was on the floor and playing, he was a superstar. He was that man. Like, averaging 18 plus points per game, 5, almost 6 assists, had a 45-point games, tied the single season scoring record for Louisville. Like, the kid was a star when he was out there. Sadly, the injury, that sucks. But in terms of who he was as a basketball player, he had the goods. Great shooter. Everything that he had the reputation of being, I feel like he met his expectations. So we have Michael, that's one. Ryan Conwell, everybody thought that he was going to be Louisville's leading scorer. Everybody thought that he was going to be, kind of the go-to guy, the guy that kind of showed Michael the way. He did an awesome job, averaging 18 points per game himself. Second team All-ACC, had a very good season. The other 2 guys that I feel met or exceeded their expectations, I feel Ali Khalifa was who we thought he was going to be. He was, his reputation, big man comes in, great passer. He's going to come in, he's going to drop dimes, and he can hit a jump shot here and there. That's what he was. He wasn't great. He wasn't a great player, but he did what we all expected him to do. Yeah. Be a great passer, come in off the bench, give us good minutes. And the fourth guy, Zugris, Big Zoo. Zoo came on at the end of the year. He started the last 2 weeks of the season and started an NCAA tournament and played well. I mean, he gave big minutes to Louisville. Like, I thought that Big Zoo came out there against Michigan State and, got us going. He scored, 6 of the first 8 points for Louisville in Louisville's second tournament game. Zoo balled.
Yeah.
And for an undersized big man, Big Zoo's only about 6'7", 6'8", and he's out there against, big Paul Bunyan for, Michigan State. He's 6'11", 260 pounds, a mammoth out there. And Zoo held his own. Those four guys, in my personal opinion, as far as what people expected for them coming into the year, those are the only four players, in my personal opinion, that met the expectation of being as good as what we thought they would be.
Now,
Hadley. Oh well, yeah, I'll give you that. I'll say 5 because of Hadley, because Hadley was what we knew he was.
Yeah,
he was good. To me, with I'm going to give, but the reason why I don't include Hadley on there is because while Hadley was as good as what we thought he was, he's playing out of position all year. That's not on Hadley. That's on Coach Kelsey for leaving Hadley as a 4-man, as a power forward, instead of playing his natural position as the 3. And that's probably why I kind of give him a asterisk. Yes, he was as good as what I thought he was, but the fact that he was playing out of position really hurt Louisville. So I'll give him an asterisk. I'll say, yes, he definitely met his expectations, but he was not as good as what Louisville needed. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I'll put him there. I'll give you that. So I say all this to say, when you look at Louisville and you look at who they were as a team, you look at the preseason expectations, the fact that only 5 guys, if we include Javon Hadley, really met the expectations of being who we thought they would be. That means more than half of your roster were guys that weren't as good as advertised or did not fit with Louisville as well as what we thought. Kenai Roos did not make the jump we thought he was going to make. Adrian Woolley, while he was solid coming over from Kennesaw State as in the transfer portal, he wasn't what we expected he was going to be. I felt like he got close to expectations, but he was below what we thought he was going to be. Kobe Rogers, nice young man. I feel like it was a bit much for him this year. Playing, I felt like he's more of a mid-major player. I don't think that Kobe was good enough for this level. Sananda Frew, which is the big one. People thought that Frew was going to be good enough to be an all-ACC type big man. He didn't get close to that. Sananda did not reach near. It's not necessarily his fault, but because he's coming over from Germany, you don't really know what you're getting, but he was not nearly as good as what we thought he was going to be. And Isaac McNeely, good shooter, could not get his shot off against good competition. That was his biggest issue, was that he could only impact the games when we're playing against teams where either Louisville had a big talent advantage or Michael Brown was out there, because Michael could get Isaac shots. But once Michael was gone, Isaac was pretty much useless for the most part. Not necessarily his fault, but it is what it is. So when you look at so many guys on this team, and then Kason Pryor, I don't know what was up with that the whole year. Was he healthy? Was he not healthy? When he was out there,
he did all right.
He never played with a limp. I don't know what happened with the whole Kason Pryor thing. That's probably the biggest mystery to me. But at the end of the day, Kason Pryor was expected to be one of the stars of our team, and Louisville couldn't even play him at the end of the year. So,
yeah.
When you look at how many guys did not make or were not what we expected them to be, especially when you look at Sananda Frew and Kason Pryor, as well as Kenai Roos, those 3 guys were expected to be big-time role players on this team. And none of those guys were close to what we needed them or expected them to be. So with all those shortcomings, Pat Kelsey still got this team where they needed to be in terms of a program. And that right there for me tells me that it's less about the X's and O's and more about the Jimmies and the Joes. To me, if Louisville gets the proper roster, and you go out there and get guys that can come in and at least be as good as what they're expected to be. It doesn't mean that everybody has to be great, but at least come in and give us the production that you should, given what you're getting paid, because guys get paid now. Yep. Given what you're getting paid, given your reputation coming in, given what we've seen from you previously, if you're a guy coming back, we expected if you were at Louisville last year, like Kenai Roos, I'm expecting for Kenai Roos to be better in year 2 than he was in year 1. Kenai was exactly the same dude year 1 and year 2.
Yeah, he did not change.
Didn't change at all.
Except for like 2 games.
Like, to me, in fact, there were some things about Kenai that I like better year 1 than year 2. Honestly. Like, Kenai had more coast-to-coast dunks and, like, big-time athletic plays, in my personal opinion, year 1 than year 2. Like, Kenai just, but when you have guys like that don't necessarily achieve that level, when you consider what Louisville's expectation were and what we thought we were going to have to hang our hats on, the fact that Pat Kelsey was able to take a lot of deficiencies like that, Javon playing out of position, even though that's on Pat Kelsey because he makes a decision on who's in the lineup. You have Javon playing out of position. You have Sananda Frew that's not as good as he needs to be. You have Ali Khalifa who comes in and he's, does what we expect for him to do, but not the greatest athlete, not the greatest defensive player, can't really move his feet, he's limited. You have Zugris out there. Yes, is he playing well? Yes, is he playing hard? But at the end of the day, he's like 6'6", playing in the post. It's like there's only so much you can do. So the fact that Pat Kelsey was able to take a bunch of, I don't want to say defective parts, but definitely not ideal guys playing not ideal roles. And at the end of the year, when you look at Michael being out, when you think about it, of the 5 guys in the starting lineup, 4 of those 5 guys were playing out of position. Yeah. Adrian Woolley's not a point guard, but he was playing the point. Isaac McNeely's not a small forward, and he's starting at the 3. We talked about Javon Hadley definitely not being a power forward, and he's playing the 4. And Zugris is 6'6", playing center.
Yeah.
None of those guys were in position. So the fact that Louisville was able to do what they did this year, I think Pat Kelsey did an excellent job. So now it's about getting the right guys in there. And on that note, I know we're up against the break. Let's go ahead. Let's hit the top of the hour break. Now we turn to what Louisville needs to do and who Louisville needs to go for now. We're already getting some ideas on that. You are listening to Wake Up 502. Raashaan Myers, intern Dre, intern James. We'll be back on the Big X.
Options. When it comes to insurance,
Yes, you heard that right. Last segment of the show. Wake up 502, 96.1 FM, 1450 AM, Big X Sports Radio, WXVW. Just found out, programming note, Indiana High School State Basketball tournament coverage is coming on starting at 10:30. So we are going to be out. This is our last segment of the show. So if you want to get your thoughts in, 502-414-1450, go ahead and get those into the Game Day Men's Health text line. I did not realize that we were going on, or I will let you guys know at the beginning, but just wanted to give you the heads up. So you will be 30 minutes short on your Wake Up 502 coverage. So definitely get those thoughts in now. James, let me ask you, what do we have coming into the Game Day Men's Health text line? I know where the text line has been jumping this morning. What you got for me?
So first off, we have watching Louisville baseball is flustering, but I'll be watching it again at 2 p.m.
Yeah, the Cardinal 9, Dan McDonald and the Louisville baseball team. I just, they come into the season ranked as, I think they were preseason number 8, 9, 7, something like that. They come in ranked in the top 10. They immediately lose their first series out, and it seems like they just can't get right. They get so close. They had a chance to beat nationally ranked North Carolina last week in a series. They get it to 1-1. They get to the final game of the series on Sunday and just can't get it done. So, yeah, I feel your text there. Hopefully they can get it done. I need to see Louisville baseball get back on the right field because they have great offense, but the pitching has just been like Tank Davis has been a beast. And I know Zion Rose, Louisville was expected for Zion to be a huge, huge part of the team this year. He's been dealing with some injuries. He's been nicked up since the beginning of the year. So hopefully he gets back, but we just got to find some pitching. Like Louisville pitching, ever since COVID, like the COVID year, the year that they shut down COVID, Louisville had the best pitching staff in college baseball. And, of course, everything gets shut down. Louisville was preseason number 1 that year, and then you end up not having a season. And since then, I don't know if COVID just took all our pitchers away, but Louisville ain't been able to pitch ever since. So, it's like, good luck, Dan McDonald. Hopefully y'all get it done. What else we got on there, James?
Next, it says, my 2 cents on the Louisville Kings game.
Okay.
I was confused with people in the crowd on the screen with Louisville King shirts doing L's up, a lot of people with King shirts doing L's down. It was still house divided. 1, the cold wind won the game. 2, Roman did great. 3, the Kings football can't catch, fumble, and then the defense was ran by Ron English. And 4, I saw more beer cans than fans.
So it's a lot to unpack with that. I will say this. First of all, the fact that some of the Louisville Kings fans were doing L's up and others doing L's down, I actually think that's a good sign. That means that both Louisville and Kentucky fans are active Louisville Kings fans, which is what you want. The city of Louisville is a city that's divided. We got Kentucky fans, we got Louisville fans. But at least if they can come together in brotherhood for the Louisville Kings, I'll take that.
Yeah, and the drop passes need to stop, and fumbling on the 1 yard line needs to stop, dude.
Yeah.
This is like Division II pro football.
Yes. You gotta get it done. I agree with that. But like I said, there was jitters, there was nerves. It was their first game together. Hopefully they'll get it. That they'll get it together. But all in all, like I said, first game out. The proof of concept's out there. People seem to have a good time. Now let's just get some warm weather so people can actually enjoy it. And the fact that there are more beer cans than people, considering that it was a sellout, that means there was a lot. I feel like somebody made a lot of money. So
yeah,
we'll go with that. We got any other texts in there this morning, James?
Got a lot more.
Oh yeah, let's. What we got next?
If Michael Brown played, we would be going to the Elite 8.
You know what? I agree with that. Like
I agree with that.
I feel like if Louisville has Michael, they beat Michigan State. I think they would have beaten Michigan State. To me, what they were missing, that get over the hump the last 5 minutes. The fact that, even without him, Louisville is a 3-point game with about 5.5 minutes to go. If you have Michael Brown in that scenario, in that situation, I don't think Jerry McPhears is nearly as effective as he was. And I think that Michael puts enough pressure on Michigan State. I think they get it done. I don't know if they get to the Elite Eight, but they definitely give UConn a game. I think that Louisville had enough, and I just don't trust UConn. Yes, do I know UConn beat Michigan State yesterday? Yeah, it was a close game. Like, it came down to the last second. UConn hit some huge shots down the stretch, but I definitely think that Louisville would have given UConn a game. I think they would have had a shot. So I'm okay with that text. I'm okay with that premise. Before we get to the last couple of texts, let's go ahead. Let's get Jay Has on the line. I want to make sure we get him in before we get out, since we're out of here at 10:30 today. Jay, what's going on? Good morning, brother.
Good morning, what's going on?
How you doing?
Doing fine, sir.
So, Jay, I need to know, Jay, how are you feeling? We're about 6 days removed from Louisville basketball. That they weren't able to get it done. Michael Brown didn't play. Louisville gave Michigan State a fight, but, they ended up losing. How are you feeling about the season, brother?
I feel okay with it, man, but I'm not. It is what it is. It is what it is. But I'm not very pleased with it, but it needs to get better. I know there was transitioning things going on with the coaching staff doing the early part of the season and transferring commuting to other colleges and things like that. But my main concern with Raashaan is restructuring the lineup for the University basketball program.
Okay.
I see you posted several things and you have some of the top transport kids in the country, but I see a lot of things the last couple of days myself, but it needs to be restructured with whatever coaches were to come to play the University Level program, assistant coaches. I have no clue, but I hear certain names that's floating or whatever, but I just want to see the roster constructed real well with some balls.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah. Quinn Ellis is a British point guard, playing currently in the top league in Italy. One of the most sought after point guards in the portal. It's been said, or in the nation, not in the portal because he's a European prospect, but a young man that's been getting interest from Duke, Kentucky, Arizona, UConn, you name it. People have been on him. There's been a lot of smoke out there that Quinn Ellis is going to commit to the University of Louisville. So it looks like Pat Kelsey is going after his point guard, 6'5", maybe about 190 pounds. Excellent attacker off the bounce. Excellent passer. He's a dime dropper. Solid shooter. Not great, but solid. It looks like Louisville's trying to get their point guard, in the fold and already out of the way, Jay.
Raashaan, let me ask you this too. You played Louisville basketball for the last 15, 20 years yourself. What are you thinking? I done seen you go toe-to-toe with a bunch of coaches, with Coach Pitino.
Yes, sir.
I've seen you go toe-to-toe with Bobby Petrino. I've seen you, go at it with Coach Kelsey. What do you think the potency of it is to move forward in this basketball program at University of Louisville?
Well, I think that Coach Kelsey, it's interesting because Coach Kelsey, we've heard in the last couple of days that Thomas Carr and Brian Cloman have taken new positions. Coach Klo is headed down to Auburn, and Thomas Carr is now at Indiana. And that was two of Coach Kelsey's closest friends and guys that he's been with for a long time, Jay. And I think that speaks a lot to me, that Pat Kelsey is understanding that this is Louisville basketball. And there is a level that's expected. And regardless of whether they're your friends or not, you have to go out there and do what's best for the university. You have to have coaches and staff that are able to identify, recognize, and execute a game plan to get Louisville where they need to be. So I think that Coach Kelsey saw the deficiencies in the roster. From what I understand, these changes in the coaching staff were made because of let's just say the players that were some of the players that were brought in by Louisville. Those guys were kind of responsible for bringing those guys in, and that those players weren't good enough. So now Coach Kelsey understands that I need to get some people in here that are going to get me the level of talent and guys that will fit what Louisville basketball needs to be. Does that make sense?
Makes a lot of sense, Raashaan, Mark. Makes a lot of sense to you. Are you frustrated? I mean, have you been, a little bit, under the frustration market, or you dealing with it?
No, not at all. Like I said, I felt that this year was more a failure of the roster that was put out there more than it was a failure of the coach. Like, I feel like in terms of what Louisville was, what the coaching staff, in terms of the X's and O's, they were asking those guys to do, I think it was solid, but I just don't think the roster was good enough, on top of the fact that Javon Hadley was playing the 4 all year long. Like, I never want to see Louisville with a 6'7" power forward, or he's listed 6'7", he's more like 6'5". I don't want to see Louisville with a 6'5" power forward anymore. Like, you got to have big guys, Jay. What have we seen in the Sweet 16? Big men. What's Michigan have? Big men. What's Illinois have? Big men. What's Arizona have? Big men. You got to have size. You have to have size. You have to have length. You have to have athleticism. If you can't compete in the paint, you're not going to win at this level, Jay. So I think that Coach Kelsey understands what he needs to do and what he needs to get better at. And to me, the moves that he's making, no, I'm not frustrated at all. I'm excited to see what Pat Kelsey does. We, of course, know he's going to go out there and he's going to get his point guard, which is why he's on Quinn Ellis. But I want to see the moves he makes after that, if that makes sense. Like, that's going to tell me if Pat Kelsey's head is in the right place. Let me see how he puts this roster together.
Gotcha. Understood. Well, that's the world now. Raashaan Live, boy. I tell you. Well, he's going to open up his league working together, on him.
Hey, I'm excited for it, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm loving the games. I was hoping Coach Pitino could get it done last night, but, I give credit to Duke. Duke made the big plays in the last couple of minutes. I thought Coach Pitino was going to get it done. He didn't get it done, so I'm just enjoying the games. But I'm going to tell you what, Jay, and you can give me your opinion. I don't think nobody's beating Arizona, brother.
Arizona's tough.
They look good.
On every level position, they are tough. They should probably win the national championship too. Probably be Duke and Arizona in the championship.
I can see that. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I think that could definitely be the case, that they're playing really good basketball. So, yeah, I can't hate on it. Illinois is a little dark horse team just because of their size and their shooting. But, yeah, I don't think anybody's beating Arizona, man.
In my closing remarks, Raashaan, I will say this. It's so phenomenal to tune in to 96.1 and listen to Haven and Raashaan and yourself, that you break it all the way down into substance of the mirror of the college basketball, football, whatever it may be, and you break it all the way down, man. And that's what makes your show, your station, phenomenal. It does what it does for what you do with this station and what you do for the 502 Sports Show. Man, you guys are the best. And for you to answer my question, I love it when you answer my question. I really appreciate your thorough and your hard work and what you put into sports and locally and internationally. People don't understand a lot of homework that you really do behind closed scenes. And in part two of our closing remarks, Raashaan, we're going to give some praise to Brian Durbin. His facility caught on fire and lost a whole lot, millions of dollars worth of stuff in the fire that happened Sunday evening, Raashaan. As you course, Brian Durbin, our friend.
Yeah, for sure. Shout out to Brian. Thoughts and prayers with him. I know, unfortunately, did have the fire at his facility, so hopefully they're going to get that all together. Hopefully, insurance can come in there, swoop in there, and get that all together. But definitely thoughts with Brian, one of our good buddies, and a first time. He's a core member in a group of the Main Event Sports and Wake Up 502 Nation. So. And one of the biggest Louisville fans, he's one of them dudes that we got to talk off the ledge every time Louisville football and basketball plays. So definitely shout out to Brian. But Jay,
Raashaan, you and Hogan are the best. Love you guys, man. Keep doing a good job, man.
Yes, sir. Hey, Jay, thank you so much. You're a living legend. Appreciate everything you do and continue to do for
this. One more thing, Raashaan. I've got to tell you one more thing.
Yes, sir.
I'm getting from the deputy mayor, I'm getting the proclamation award and retiring, and then they're gonna name the street after me.
What?
In my home address. Yes.
Is that right? That's see what I'm saying. Jay has always got something going on, man. You deserve all of it, my brother. I cannot wait to see it. I want to see Jay Has Lane. That's what I want.
I'm gonna call it Has His Way.
Has His Way. Hey, I like that. I like that. There we go. Hey, I appreciate it, Jay. Have a good one, brother. There we go. One of the best to ever do it, y'all. Jay Has checking in. Appreciate him. He's always got something going on. He got a street named after him.
That's pretty cool.
That's awesome.
Ain't that cool? That's awesome. James, well, I know we're rushing towards the end. What do we got any more text in there?
Right back to it. All right. I give the team a C-, but the role players are C's and D's.
Wow.
McNeely can't shoot with his leg kick. Frew doesn't want to score. Hadley is hot or cold. And don't get me started on Ali Khalifa, a 6'11" center that can't jump and gets dunked on every game.
I mean, but like, so this is my thing. I'm okay with you having that opinion, but if you think that the players are that bad, just think about this. Even with all those problems, even the fact they didn't have Michael, Louisville still won a game in the tournament for the first time since 2017 and made the second round. They were in the round of 32. So, like, Texter, I agree with you, but does Kelsey get credit for taking all those flawed parts and being able to get Louisville a win?
Well, it goes into that on his next. It kind of goes into that on the next few texts. It says Kelsey needs an old school coach to tell him how to adjust, like a Tubby Smith, Coach K, or Bill Self when he retires.
Okay,
Raashaan, I say Pat is Satterfieldish because I don't think he's going to change anything. People keep saying what we need with bigs and guards. I don't think Kelsey will change, or he'll have a coach to tell him to change.
Yeah, you know what? I am okay with that. I like that. Dre, you'll have to let me know. Like, do you agree that Coach Kelsey needs to bring in some old man, somebody who's going to at least argue with him, or do you think that Coach Kelsey is going to be fine on his own? Like,
well, Pat Kelsey isn't a Chris Mack. He isn't a Rick Pitino. He is a person who wants to win, and he's going to win by any means necessary.
He's hungry.
Yeah, he's going to win, and you can bring him like all these like players like you said, Khalifa, always getting dunked on, Hadley hot and cold. He takes that hot and cold and they win the game. They win a tournament game.
That's what I'm saying.
And then they beat Miami. How about that? Hadley had 16 points that game. Woolley had 15.
Yeah.
Como had like 20 that game.
Yeah, that's my whole point. It's like, I understand like what you're saying, but to me that should even make Kelsey look better because like we talk about all the shortcomings that these players had and he still won.
Yeah.
Like that's the way I look at it. But I agree. Like Texter, the one thing I'll say about it is this. You say you don't think Pat Kelsey is going to change. You feel like he's stuck in his ways. That's why I told Jay, yeah, if he goes out there and gets Quinn Ellis, I'm excited about that because he's had a great point guard every year that he's been here. He had Chucky year one. He had Michael year two, even though, of course, Michael got hurt. If Quinn Ellis is the third point guard at Louisville, that's another really good point guard.
And these are going to get players that surround his play skill.
Yes, I need to see those guys. Like, I'm fine with the point guard. I know he can recruit the point guard. I want to see what these big men look like. I want to see what the front court looks like. I want to see. That's how I'll know if Pat Kelsey's turned a corner. So we'll see on that. Does the texture have anything else, or do we have some other ones?
Last text of the day.
Okay.
Young Rock. Coach Kelsey couldn't see his trees for his fours. His trees were Khalifa, Ruths, and Frew. That should have been his front court all year. Conwell and Brown, the starting guards all year. By February, that lineup could have handled length, girth, and quickness with a great bench.
They love length and girth. That's what she said. Okay, I had to do my Michael Scott. I'm sorry. Sorry, I had to do the Michael Scott. But no, hey, look. I agree. I think that, to me personally, I would have loved to see a lineup where you have Frew at the 5 and Zoo at the 4. Like, give me Zoo and Frew in there together, two big guys. Give me Hadley at the 3 and let McNeely come off the bench. You know, like if they would have played with those three guys in there together, I think it would have been fine. The problem with Coach Kelsey was this year, he loved Hadley so much, and he thought that he had to have McNeely out there, that he kind of stuck with that small ball lineup because he just thought that's what he had to have out there. And that's why I need to see what Kelsey does this next season, because I need to see how he builds the team, because he kind of forced himself to stay small ball because he just thought he had to have those guys out there. Now, Mike Rutherford has given me some information. I was listening to Mike Rutherford's show yesterday. There's a young man named Jackson Shellstad. He is a point guard from University of Oregon. Okay, he got hurt this year, only played in 12 games. Very good player, very athletic point guard. Right now, it looks like Louisville's trying to go out there and get Jackson and get Quinn Ellis and play those two together. But Jackson's about 6'4", Quinn Ellis is 6'5". If that's your starting backcourt and they're both true point guards, I always think Louisville's ahead of the game because that was the biggest problem last year. Louisville couldn't dribble the ball. Like Dre, we talked about it in the South Florida game. They had like 25 turnovers.
Yeah, they did.
Like, it's terrible. If Louisville goes out there and they're going to at least invest in some ball handlers, I already like the position they're going and the direction they're going. That tells me that Coach Kelsey at least identified that, look, we got to get real ball handlers in here, and we need multiple. You know, if they get Shellstad, they bring in Ellis, they keep London Johnson, you already have 3 legit ball handlers on the team.
Now we gotta get the rest all big guys. Now.
Exactly. Like that's going to be the next part of it. We're going to be the big guys, and who's going to be the shooters.
Yeah.
You know, like those are the next 2 parts of it. But I like the direction that Coach Kelsey's going in. We just have to see it come to fruition. So, you know, I feel comfortable with it. I'm comfortable with what I've seen with Coach Pat Kelsey in the first 2 years. I'm comfortable with who he is as a coach and how he prepares the team. I love his energy. I like the way he is crazy and running around. Have either of you guys seen the special, the YouTube special?
I have not seen that, but I've seen like the trail of it. How he like broke his finger while celebrating.
Yeah, broke his finger running around acting crazy. That looked disgusting.
I know it did.
James, have you seen any of that?
I don't know what special we're talking about.
Really? It's called, okay, so I will tell you that there are, you know, the language is a little colorful, okay? Language is a little colorful, but a very good documentary. It's called March into Madness.
Okay.
Okay, it's called March into Madness, and it's following Louisville basketball, or it's actually following Coach Kelsey because it starts at Charleston before Kelsey got the Louisville job. So this documentary starts at Charleston, and it follows Coach Kelsey at Charleston, moving to Louisville, and then what he's been dealing with at Louisville for the first 2 years. Yes. Yeah. Donovan Mitchell produced. It's got a class like team around them that put this show together. So if you guys want to see a really good documentary, like I said, you'll have to let some of the language go because it's unedited and unfiltered. So, but it's really good. I will say it's really, really good. There's 5 parts. It's 5 episodes. Each episode's about 30 minutes long. March into Madness. Check it out. It's on YouTube. It's really well done, and it will give you kind of that behind the scenes, and you get to see who Pat Kelsey is. And watching that, I am very much fine with who Pat. I think that Louisville has their coach. Yeah. He just needs to get the guys right. If he gets the right guys on the team, I think that he'll be good to go. So I'm super excited for that. You know, as far as I do want to give a shout out, I know we're up against it. We got about a minute and a half left. I want to give a shout out to the women's basketball team. They have their Sweet 16 game coming up today at 12:30 on ESPN. They're taking on the Michigan Wolverines. I was talking to a Michigan fan last night that said, "Are you scared to see Louisville's women going out there to face Michigan?" And I'm going to tell him the same way I told them South Florida fans. One thing that, as a Louisville women's basketball fan, I'm never going to be worried about is Michigan women's basketball. Are they a 2 seed? Yes. Is Louisville a 3 seed? Yes. But at the end of the day, it's Louisville versus Michigan. I'm not worried about Michigan. So I fully expect for Jeff Walls and the ladies to go out there and get it done. Super excited for that. I need to see some kind of Louisville basketball continue to play in March Madness. So you guys get ready for that. You know, I'm very excited. Jeff Walls is an absolute treat. Appreciate him. I look forward to what's next for Louisville basketball. Thanks for everybody coming in. Intern Dre, it's good to talk to you. James, thank you so much as well. Jay Hass, appreciate him. This is Wake Up 502. Raashaan Myers for the fellas, for Romy Bean, for Haven Harrington. We'll see you guys next week.